On January 20th, 2025, a cold wind blew across Washington, D.C. The sky was overcast and the air was filled with a sense of anticipation and uncertainty. The Capitol building stood tall, a silent witness to the historic events unfolding. But a fire burned even brighter in the heart of America. The American flag waved proudly in the wind, symbolizing the resilience and determination of the nation. The crowd, filled with patriotic fervor, gathered to witness a momentous occasion. Donald J. Trump once again took the oath of office. With his hand on the Bible, he swore to uphold the Constitution and lead the country with unwavering resolve. The moment was charged with emotion and significance. He became the 47th President of the United States. His speech was short. His words were powerful. He spoke with a determined look, addressing the nation with a clear and resolute voice. He spoke of a nation in crisis. The crowd listened intently, some with concern etched on their faces. Protesters held signs about the immigration crisis, a pressing issue that had divided the nation. A nation overrun by illegal immigration. Images of the border fence and people attempting to cross highlighted the urgency of the situation. The large group of people at the U.S.-Mexico border underscored the scale of the challenge. A nation whose generosity had been abused. Trump promised change. The crowd holding America First signs listened attentively, hopeful for a new direction. He promised to secure the border. Images of construction workers building the border wall and Border Patrol agents securing the area illustrated his commitment to this promise. He promised to put America first. The crowd cheered, waving American flags and holding America First banners, united in their support for the new president's vision for the future. President Trump didn't waste any time. He announced a bold plan to tackle illegal immigration. The centerpiece, the border wall. Construction would resume immediately. This wall, Trump declared, would be bigger and stronger than ever before. But it wasn't just about bricks and mortar. Trump announced the end of catch and release. This policy, he argued, allowed illegal immigrants to disappear into the country. No more, Trump vowed. He promised a system based on merit, not on breaking the law. To secure the border, Trump announced a surge of military personnel. Thousands of troops would be deployed to support Border Patrol agents. Their mission? To stop illegal crossings and drug trafficking. Trump called it a necessary step to protect American lives. He accused the Mexican government of turning a blind eye to the crisis. The message was clear. America would defend its sovereignty with force if necessary. Section 4. No more free passes, ending parole and catch and release. Trump then took aim at what he called loopholes in the immigration system. He argued that these loopholes allowed too many people to enter the country illegally and stay without facing consequences. His administration believed that the existing policies were too lenient and needed to be reformed to ensure the safety and security of American citizens. He announced the end of parole for illegal immigrants. This meant that individuals who entered the country illegally would no longer be granted temporary permission to stay while their cases were being processed. Instead, they would be detained and processed more swiftly, with a focus on deportation. Parole, he argued, had become a backdoor for illegal entry. By ending this practice, the administration aimed to close what they saw as a significant loophole in the immigration system. This move was part of a broader strategy to tighten border security and reduce illegal immigration. Trump also vowed to crack down on sanctuary cities. These cities, which had policies in place to limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities, were seen by the administration as safe havens for illegal immigrants. By targeting these cities, Trump aimed to enforce federal immigration laws more uniformly across the country. These cities, he claimed, harbored criminals and made America less safe. The administration argued that sanctuary policies undermine the rule of law and put communities at risk by allowing dangerous individuals to avoid deportation. His message resonated with his base. America had been too lenient for too long. Supporters believed that stricter immigration policies were necessary to protect the nation's borders and ensure the safety of its citizens. It was time to enforce the law. The administration's stance was clear. By ending parole and cracking down on sanctuary cities, they aimed to restore order and uphold the integrity of the immigration system. Section 5, A Nation of Laws, Trump's Message to the World. Trump's speech sent shockwaves through Washington. His words were a clarion call to his supporters and a stark warning to his detractors. The president made it clear that his administration would take a hardline stance on immigration, a topic that had long been a cornerstone of his political platform. Democrats immediately denounced it as cruel and divisive. They argued that such policies would tear families apart and undermine the very fabric of American society. The opposition was fierce and vocal, with leaders from the Democratic Party taking to the airwaves to express their outrage. They promised to fight his policies in court. Legal battles were anticipated, with numerous lawsuits being prepared to challenge the administration's actions. The judiciary was set to become a battleground for the future of immigration policy in the United States. Activist groups accused Trump of xenophobia and racism. They organized rallies and protests, determined to make their voices heard. These groups saw the president's message as an attack on the values of diversity and inclusion that they held dear. They vowed to resist his agenda with everything they had. But Trump was undeterred. He remained steadfast in his commitment to his policies, believing that they were essential for the security and prosperity of the nation. He knew his base stood behind him. His supporters saw him as a champion of their concerns, someone who was willing to take bold action to address issues that had been ignored for too long. He had tapped into a deep well of anxiety about illegal immigration. This was a topic that resonated deeply with many Americans who felt that their communities and livelihoods were at risk. His message was simple: America is a nation of laws, not a nation of open borders. He emphasized the importance of enforcing existing laws and securing the borders to protect the nation's sovereignty. He would restore order, no matter the cost. For Trump, this was a matter of principle and national security. He was determined to take whatever steps were necessary to ensure that the rule of law was upheld and that the borders were secure.